Well, we are now less than 24 hours from the 2023 NBA draft, and this is going to be our mock draft 2.0 featuring a full first round mock draft. Thank you very much for checking us out here at Prime Sports World. Please like, share, and subscribe to the podcast. David Huppin right there, co-host. TJ Hopkins, Israel Vera should be joining us here momentarily as we get ready for the 2023 NBA mock draft and NBA draft, which is tomorrow night. I think the first pick is at 8:30, or the Spurs are on the clock at 8:30. For some reason, it's probably going to take them 10 minutes to pick Victor Wembanyama. But the draft is here. The NBA offseason is here. On Monday, we'll be doing a full free agency show where we talk about the notable free agents in the NBA. We talk about where they might end up. So you don't want to miss that content, and we're going to bring it to you 24/7. Sunday, we also bring you an 800 episode special. TJ, welcome to the show. Happy Hump Day, my friend. How are you today?
I'm all right. Same old.
I love to hear. Before we get into the mock draft, let's talk about the proposed three-way trade that's been proposed. Just real quick, I just want to hear who your winner is of this trade. So first of all, it's Kristaps Porzingis going to the Boston Celtics. The Clippers getting Malcolm Brogdon, and the Wizards getting Marcus Morris, Amir Coffey, 30th pick in this year's draft, which I do not think can be traded until the actual draft. They're also getting Danilo Gallinari in order to make the money work. Porzingis has decided to opt in to his final year of his contract worth like $28 million. So he's going to be there at least for one more season. Instant reaction. Who wins this trade?
The Clippers and Kristaps Porzingis. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say the Clippers too. You Marcus Morris wasn't in your rotation. Amir Coffey, who cares? And you get Malcolm Brogdon, who's either a really good bench player or your starting point guard.
Like Malcolm Brogdon that's the sixth man of the year, right? And
yeah.
Kristaps Porzingis is probably for the first time in a long time is going to have a chance to play meaningful basketball past March. I think the last time he probably played meaningful basketball, he was with the Knicks when they tried the Porzingis, Rose, Melo trio, right? Like that was probably the last time he was in the playoffs. If I'm on the Boston side, I'm looking at this like Robert Williams has been in the league, I don't know how long now. He still don't have a post game. You still can't dump the ball down to him and say, "Get me a bucket." He's rim runner and he's a shot blocker, and at times when Boston offense stalls and the jump shots aren't falling, you have to be able to say, hey, get on the block and get me a bucket. They don't have anybody that can do that. Al Horford's not that guy anymore because he's completely revamped how he plays basketball, which is fine. Like, it's the new NBA now, right? Everybody got to shoot.
Yep.
And Porzingis is what I like to call a three-level scorer. He can post, he can shoot, he can play in the mid-range, and he can shoot the three. And he's a shot blocker, just like Robert Williams is. Washington, they just need to, it's evident now. Like finally, you're rebuilding. Thank
Yep.
God. About fucking time. Excuse my language.
Kyle Kuzma opted out of his money. He's probably going to be gone too. So yeah, this is a for sure team that's heading towards a for sure rebuild. It'll be interesting to see what happens with the Wizards. But I love this trade for the Clippers, and as Wizards, I think it's about time he made a decision here. Moving on into the mock draft, let's talk about it. San Antonio Spurs. How much time you want to waste on the Spurs on this mock draft? None.
Nothing, bro. I'm just tired. It's not them. I'm just tired of hearing about Wembanyama. Like it's the stuff he like. It's annoying now. Like we get it. He's 7'5". A baseball looks like a ping pong ball in his hand. He's too tall to ride the subway in New York. We get it. Right? Like first off, if I'm the other prospects in this draft, I'm I'm tired of it too. I'm feeling
I don't blame. Yeah, I feel you on that.
I'm feeling disrespect beyond disrespected. When LeBron James was coming into the league, yeah, he was hyped, but they didn't act like Melo didn't just win a national championship. They didn't act like Dwayne Wade didn't lead Marquette on a historic tournament run, which was what got Dwayne Wade drafted top 5 overall.
Yeah,
Right?
but I also think because of the advent of social media, I think things are just so much different now. Like,
and so what does that mean? What does that even have to do with that?
I
All
don't
these
know,
players, all these guys are on social media. All these guys
yeah,
have
but
mixtapes
none of them have really had the presence that a Victor Wembanyama has.
because
But
they don't allow it. Like everybody's flocking towards him. Like everybody, like they weren't putting Scoot Henderson's G League games on TV
that's true.
Until who? Until they played
Victor
Wembanyama's first
Wembanyama,
team.
yeah.
Brandon Miller, like I think he lost some draft stock, like he lost some publicity because of that
100%.
that
Yeah.
investigation that went on. But he's still going to be a top 3 draft pick. The Asur twins, like Overtime Elite, don't get enough love because they play on Amazon Prime, and everybody's not gonna.
Man,
Everybody can't.
that building they play in though is incredible.
So like, yeah,
if you haven't seen the place where Overtime Elite plays in, it is
no, like
astounding. Well,
like
Victor
it's
Wembanyama will be the first overall pick for the San Antonio Spurs. Let's move on to the Charlotte Hornets. We're on the clock for now, as there are a lot of interest from various teams in this pick. But if the Charlotte Hornets stay here, hypothetically, what do you got them doing here at number 2?
Brandon Miller is probably going to go number 2 overall. They like his fit next to LaMelo Ball more than Scoot Henderson, which I don't hate that rationale. I don't hate that logic at all. You get a guy that can play positions 2 through 4, maybe he'll be a big he'd be a big 2. That's for that's for damn sure. But Gilbert Arenas brought up an interesting point about all these guys and how they like when they work out for these teams and like, oh, they had a good workout. Like I would hope so. You have them doing drills, like they're shooting, like they're not shooting against anybody. He's like,
they should look good. Like when I shoot around at the rec, obviously it's the rec, but like I go through this period where I like won't miss a shot.
Right, you look amazing, right? You look like, hey, but it's like if I was them, like if I'm the Charlotte Hornets, okay, I'm bringing in PJ Washington. Hey, you finna go 1-on-1 with PJ Washington, and I will assess you off of that 1-on-1. And I'm bringing in a couple more guys. Like it's gonna go from 1-on-1 to 2-on-2, all the way up to like you gonna run a full game.
I imagine they don't want to risk that person getting injured in
like
something like that.
Like, but you learn more from that and actual game tape than hey, let me just see you shoot. Let me just see you do these cone drills against nobody.
I'm not arguing with you. I think you're spot on. But I think the reason that they don't, I imagine, is the risk of injury.
Nah, that's all shit out of here. But yeah, Brandon Miller's probably gonna go number 2 overall.
I will agree with you on that. I think they'll be interested to see because I think New Orleans really wants one of these 2 picks, either the first or the second or third pick, and they want Scoot Henderson. We'll see what's happening. The rumor mill is just getting insane right now when it comes to the draft and especially with the New Orleans Pelicans right now. But yeah, I'll take Brandon Miller, number 2 overall to the Charlotte Hornets. I think his fit is better next to LaMelo Ball. I think you figure out the rest of the roster later. To the Portland Trail Blazers, who still have Damian Lillard on the roster. We'll see if he ends up still on the roster after the end of the draft. But they're on the clock now. I will have them taking Scoot Henderson because there are 3 elite players in this NBA draft, and I think there's a considerable drop off from those 3 guys.
I assume they are shopping this pick. I fully expect not a Charlotte, either a New Orleans, a Chicago, or a Miami to somehow swing a trade for that top 3 overall pick by tomorrow night. And if I'm either one of those two, if I'm Chicago, yeah, Scoot Henderson makes the most sense. You desperately need a point guard, and he fits the need like a hand in the glove. If I'm Miami, oh man, if I'm Miami, Scoot Henderson works there too.
Yeah, but I don't think Miami's going to be able to. I don't think they'll have the ability to make that and get up to this point. I mean, I could be wrong. Obviously, I spent a lot of my life being wrong, but I just don't think they can get up to 3.
Because Portland at this time, like they've literally said we're no longer fielding calls for a Damian Lillard trade. So if you call it,
you say teams say that kind of stuff all the time, but I still think he's going to get moved this offseason. Obviously, I could be wrong.
So I'm no, but like they say that, but hey, I think they mean it. Like if you call them talking about, hey, what do you want for Dame? They're hanging up the phone. Like there's nothing to talk about. There's nothing to talk about. Like they're not doing it. There's nothing to talk about.
All right. Let's talk about where the draft kind of really starts here. It's with the 4th overall pick in the Houston Rockets. What do you have the Houston Rockets doing here with the 4th overall pick in this mock draft?
What's his name? Ime Udoka, new coach. They're probably gonna go with one of the Thompson twins, but I think that creates a log. Well, they got log jams all over the place. That's
true.
This is a team that they need to put some shape and figure to their roster, so they're probably gonna go Amin Thompson because Jalen Green looks like he's probably on his way out, as well as Kevin Porter Jr.
I think Kevin Porter Jr. has a higher chance of being out than, but I think I don't know.
Again, they're a young roster. They have a coach who is basically no nonsense, and I'm very curious as to how that dynamic works. Like, how long before they, because they've never been challenged like that. Those young dudes, like they
went to a cushy place where they basically ran how they worked in college. I mean, it's yeah.
Like think about it, like everywhere they've gone, everywhere they've played in college, everywhere they've coaches have bent to them and be like, all right, you get a pass because you're this star player. Da, 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 da. Ime Udoka's not going for that. Like it's my show. Like what I say goes, and yeah. So I'm gonna go Amin Thompson, and they figure it out from there.
I'll agree with you on that. I think they're taking Amin Thompson. I think he's probably the better playmaker of the two. I think that's it's really close. But yeah, I think the Houston Rockets go. They go Amin Thompson here with the 4th overall pick in this year's draft. Super athletic, 6'7", can play the point guard or the shooting guard position. You can even have play Jalen Green, Kevin Porter Jr. if you keep all 3 of those guys together. It's pretty lethal combo there for the Houston Rockets. Moving into number 5, the Detroit Pistons. Sorry about your terrible lottery luck, but they do get a good basketball player. They get Cam Whitmore, the kid from Villanova. It's another wing they kind of need at the Detroit Pistons. I think they had enough point guards. They got enough bigs. Cam Whitmore is a good complement to what they already have on the roster, and he's not redundant, which is the big problem with this roster as it is right now. It's fairly redundant.
They got Cam Whitmore falling all the way down to 10 for whatever reason. I guess he didn't call it test well or whatever, whatever kind of test they have you do.
I mean, whatever that means.
In the pre-draft process for the NBA. this could also be a potential trade chip for like Monty Williams is, again, no nonsense. He got a 6 year deal, but at the same time, you kind of want to be a year ahead of the rebuild process, and you gotta get young dudes, but some vets there too. Like you need a dude that's like 25 to play on that roster that's been in the league for about 6 years already.
Yeah, yeah,
Like you get what I'm saying? Like I don't know what they do here. Like there's so many ways to go. I think they go. What's his name? Not Anthony Black, but the his teammate from Arkansas.
you're talking about sorry, hold on, I get it right now. Nick Smith Jr., shooting guard out of Arkansas.
Yeah, 'cause I think they might panic because the K Cunningham pick hasn't worked
I mean,
to their liking yet.
he's been good when he plays. The problem is
When he plays.
he hasn't played that much for the Detroit Pistons, so they've struggled. But yeah, when he's been on the court, he's been excellent.
Yeah, the problem is keeping him on the court.
Yeah,
Like that's the problem. So we've seen this time and time again. Like team star point guard gets constantly injured or has some bad injuries in back to back years. That team panics and they go out and get what seems to be his replacement. See it all the time.
it's true. Yeah, but I think Cam Whitmore. I think he's probably. I think he's going to be the first Villanova Wildcat taken in the first round. As a lot in like the first 5 picks, and he also probably be. I think he's one of the first Villanova Wildcats to be a one and done, if memory serves me correctly. But obviously, I could be wrong. Um, but that's what I have Detroit doing. Moving on to number 6, we got the Orlando Magic on the clock. The first of their 2 first-round picks in this year's draft. This one is their own. The other one is coming from the Chicago Bulls. TJ, what do you got the Orlando Magic doing here?
Uh, Well, they're what you call it. Jalen Suggs and Cole Anthony could be shipped off, which leaves a point guard hole for them. Point guard and the 2 guard hole. Of what's his name? Oh, what is? Oh, hold on. And Omari Spellman in 2018 was a lottery pick, not a lottery pick, but a first round one and done player for
Oh,
Villanova.
my bad.
No, you good. It happens. It happens. I had his name pulled up, and I'm finna find it right now.
I'm gonna have the Orlando Magic taking the other Thompson twin. I also think he's a good complement to what they already have on the roster. He's kind of a wing combo, 3-2-3 guard. He's the better shot creator, I guess, shot maker of the Thompson twins, and he's probably a little bit better of a defender, Asar Thompson. So also he's probably the best player still available.
Well, if they move off of Cole Anthony, Anthony Black makes a lot of sense right here.
He would.
So I'm gonna go Anthony Black. So you got 2 back-to-back Razorbacks off the board.
Moving on to there, we got the number 7 pick. We got the Indiana Pacers on the clock, and TJ got the Indiana Pacers going with a good wing to complement Tyrese Halliburton. I got them taking Anthony Black, point guard, shooting guard from the Arkansas Razorbacks. 3-level scorer, can really score and put it on the deck. Yeah, Anthony Black going to the Pacers. I like that compliment with him and Bennett Mathurin. I think the sky's the limit for those 3 guys.
I'm gonna go Walker out of Houston. Jarris Walker out of Houston at 7. Like it's been 4 years. They've been doing the Buddy Hield, Miles Turner talks to LA for 4 years now. They just brought it back up, and I'm at the point where it's like, hey man, either do it or don't, and shut up about it. So that's where I am with that. But I think they definitely need more big man depth if they move off of Miles Turner, and that's a big if.
I don't think that's going to happen. I mean, I could be wrong, but I just don't think they're going to be moving off of him just yet. But we'll see. Moving on to the eighth overall pick, we got the Washington Wizards on the clock as they're revamping their roster. Obviously, they will also have the 30th pick in this draft after the Chris Porzingis trade. I honestly don't know if that trade can be completed until when it can be completed. But let's talk about the Wizards. What do you got them doing here?
The other Thompson twin, Asar Thompson.
So they lost a lot of scoring with Bradley Beal and Bradley Beal and Chris Porzingis, and probably more than likely they're going to lose Kyle Kuzma as well. So I actually got the guy who just won the national title, Jordan Hawkins, shooting guard out of Connecticut, another Connecticut guy. Going there, going to the Washington Wizards and starting their rebuild. The guy's a 3-level scorer, was amazing in the tournament. I got him as going to the Washington Wizards at the 8th overall pick.
That might be a little high for him, for my liking, like top
maybe.
10. Maybe.
Maybe. We don't. I think I've seen some mocks where they have him going even higher than this. So we'll see what ends up happening there. That's the way. That's how I'm feeling.
I'm just gonna tell you right now. No mock draft I've seen had him going top 10 anywhere. That's just being real deal Holyfield. Like that. No. Like come on.
He's gonna go in my top 10. All right. That's why it's mine and not anybody else's. All right.
You're right.
Moving on from the Wizards, let's talk about the Utah Jazz as we are almost out of the top 10. The Utah Jazz also have like 1,000 picks in this draft in the first round. I think they got 3 first-round picks. Or no, 3 first-round picks. This is the first one they have at number 9. What do you got Utah doing here at number 9?
Utah at number 9. So they have also announced that what's his name, Colin Sexton could be moved. I'm pretty sure he's not their starting point, is he? He don't start for them, do he?
I don't know.
I don't know.
He spent a lot of time injured last year and never really got back into the rotation really all that well.
Me personally, I wouldn't trade him because I actually like Colin Sexton's game. I don't know what it is about him that just rubs certain people the wrong way. Like I just don't get it. But if they move off of him, you need a point. The mock draft I'm looking at has Cam Whitmore fall into them. I think that would be that's a steal, and also creates. I don't know, like that's another 3 on the team that has quite a few threes.
But I think the only guys that they really like is Lauri Markkanen, who's really a 3-4 combo.
Who's a 4, really? Like
yeah.
I think the year with Cleveland where they had him at the 3, that was an anomaly. Like any other time.
Yeah, it's true. I'm having them taking Walker out of Houston, 6'7", 249 pounds. He's a good complement to what they already have on their roster. And he falls here to number 9 overall to the Utah Jazz. He could end up going this pick earlier than this to the Washington Wizards. But I also
could see that power forward out of UCF going here too. Hendricks.
I could see that too. I think in the mob I did before this one, I had him going there, but not in this one. I have Walker going to the Utah Jazz. So try to make the mocks a little bit different because we don't want the same mock every single time that we put one together. Same. So moving on to, I also did a lot of this while I was at work.
That's fine.
So it might be a little out there because I was like doing the mock draft while I was building graphics for my actual TV show. So moving on to the Dallas Mavericks as they're on the clock with the number 10th overall pick. TJ, what do you got to the Dallas Mavericks doing? And you got some Zaz coming out after this?
Yeah, they get the other Frenchman. They get Bilal Coulibaly. They get Wembanyama's teammate, who is probably the sleeper of sleepers in this draft. Like no one knows nothing. Like no one knows anything about him. Why? Because Wembanyama took all the shine. Like when folks were Like when folks are coming to France to watch Wembanyama play, they were literally going to watch Wembanyama play. Like they just, I'm going to see Wembanyama, but he has this teammate that's also really good. You know,
That guy is flying up with mock drafts. Like I've seen a lot of mock drafts that have him going stupid early. I
like
don't have,
top five early, like top
yeah,
five early. Yeah.
like really early. But I don't necessarily think he's going to be that early. And I don't have him in my
Bilal
mock draft.
Koulibaly. Okay, I just want to say that right. Koulibaly. There we go.
I'm proud of you. I got Taylor Hendricks going to the Dallas Mavericks here. 6'8", 214 pounds. The dude can really shoot it from the three. Like he's a 3-level scorer. He can shoot the three. He can shoot the mid range, and he can be versatile on defense. Block shots a little bit. He's a good complement to Luka Doncic. He just is.
So is Koulibaly. I also think
Yeah.
he kind of fits like the mold, like that foreign player mold that gets love in Dallas. Like it gives me what's his name? It gives me like Mikael Petrus vibes.
Yeah,
Like how
yeah,
like
yeah,
remember like how he was with the Magic, like how everybody
yeah.
loved him in Orlando.
It's true. And then he went anywhere else and he kind of was trying to trash, but it's neither here nor there. Moving on to the 11th pick. It's the Orlando Magic on the clock again. This pick is from the Chicago Bulls, and I have them taking a point guard because I do think they could potentially move off of Cole Anthony. I know Jalen Suggs is on the roster, but this guy's a little bit different. I got them taking Kazon Wallace out of Kentucky. Bigger point guard than what they already have is 6'3", 195 pounds. He spent a lot of the season injured, really only came back for the NCAA tournament, played fairly well in there, and he's a good complement to what they already have on the roster. I do not want to give them another big. I do not want to give them another wing. They need a legit point guard.
They need a legit point guard. I could also see them trading this pick just because it's, again, you have to start shaping and figuring out this roster. Like you have too much young talent on this team to be a lottery pick again. So again, figure some. I don't care what they do with this pick. I don't care who they pick. I don't care if they trade it away. I just need to see some growth from the Orlando Magic. That's all I'm asking for. I don't care what they do. So we can literally go to pick number 12 because I really don't care what they do.
All right, hold on. From there, let's talk about pick number 12. We got the Oklahoma City Thunder on the clock, and TJ, you're on the clock as well. What do you got them picking?
So I think the first big man comes off the board here, and that's Derek Lively out of Duke. We get the first big off the board. Now this is a bad draft to be a center. Like I'm so serious, like a true center. Like this is a bad draft to be a center. Like I think he legit might be the only center that gets drafted. I'm not even joking.
It's true. I mean, the only other one that's even,
remotely worth talking about
is James Nagy, the kid from Nigeria, who plays in Barcelona, I think.
Yeah, he's working out with Serge Ibaka right now.
Yeah.
Or he's been working out with Serge Ibaka, I should say. But they need size up. They need size up front. They need like true size up front. Like Jalen Williams is cool. Like he cool, but you need a legit 6'10", 6'11", 7 foot. Like no more 6'7", 6'8" playing power forward. Like that's no.
So I imagine this will be the only pick that me and you agree on through the entire mock draft. I have the Oklahoma City Thunder also taking Derek Lively II out of Duke. 19 years old freshman, 7'1", 230 pounds. Didn't have the best college season, but based on the reporting on his pre-draft workout, he's flashed some potential to knock down threes. He's also a really good lob threat for SGA, whatever, or for
Giddey.
Josh Giddey. Like that's a good compliment there. I like it.
Yeah,
give me some more of it. I think they got to turn the corner here eventually, and I think Oklahoma City's getting ready to really turn the corner here. Moving on to the 13th overall pick, they got the Toronto Raptors on the clock as we are rounding out the lottery here with only 2 more picks left, and the writing seems to be on the wall here with the Toronto Raptors that it's going to be a semi-rebuild there, as they're probably not going to bring back Fred VanVleet. The verdict is still out about OG Anunoby and for Pascal Siakam. So I have them going to the next generation of point guard, replacing Fred VanVleet. I have them taking Jalen Hood-Schifino, the kid from Indiana, 6'4", 217 pounds. He just seems like he could be like a really versatile player. You could play him at the shooting guard or the point guard position. he's just a flashy athletic player who's got all the intangibles.
Well, David, this is 2 picks in a row, but we agree.
Oh man, let's go! Let's go!
So yeah, I'm also going Jordan Hood Shafino. Again, Big Ten country. Watched a lot of him this past, not just this past season, but seasons prior out of Indiana. Literally gave U of I, Illinois all they could handle, and then some in spots. Like he's a very good player. And like you said, the writing on the wall is there for Freddie Van Fleet to be all but gone, and yeah, and like as you like to say, where there's smoke, there's usually fire, and if we're hearing that Fred Van Fleet's out, he's likely out. Everybody got a price. Everybody got a price, and somebody is going to be willing to give Van Vliet what he's asking for. If Toronto's not,
staying in the lottery, last pick, we got the New Orleans Pelicans. Berg is still out if they will still be picking here. I've seen all of the trade rumors over the last 24 to 48 hours that they may try to move this pick and either Brandon Ingram or Zion Williamson try to move into the top three. But New Orleans is on the clock in this year in this mock draft because we do not have trades because they're too hard to predict. But New Orleans at 14. TJ, what are you feeling for the New Orleans Pelicans here with this mock draft?
This might ruffle some feathers. But Kobe Buffkin out of Michigan.
Man, that's 3 in a row.
Is it?
Yeah, 3 in a row.
Kobe Buffkin out of Michigan. One, I know everybody can't not talk about New Orleans and not bring up the stuff. Excuse me, that Zion Williamson is going through right now. I'm not even gonna divulge in that stuff.
One of those people got banned from Twitter. So
one of those one of those people got banned from Twitter. You want to know why? You
Google
you cannot. Just to be on the you cannot threaten to commit felonies and not expect some kind of
yeah
like you literally threatened to commit 3 felonies. Like I'm not gonna say what they are, but you like 3 of them, right? 2 at the most, depending on the third one, whichever state you're in. 2 at the most. Like you can't do that. So yeah, Kobe Buffkin, he feels a need. Everybody can literally slide back into their natural spot. So like CJ McCollum can no longer you're no longer asking him to run point and set things up. He can go back to being his natural spot at the 2. Ingram slides back to his 3, so on and so forth. Like
even if you're not going to play Kobe Buffkin, maybe you're going to play him at the shooting guard position because he's more of a combo guard than he is really a pure point guard. But he could play point guard next to CJ McCollum. Like he's just a good basketball player.
That's what I'm saying. Like so, like they're kind of playing like I don't think they would like to. Obviously, you don't want to start Herbert Jones over Zion Williamson, right? You're forced to do that. So the real starting lineup for the Pelicans is really supposed to be, because they have to. McCollum at the 1, what's his name? Trey Murphy at the 2, Bi at the 3, Zion and Valanciunas.
And even if they don't trade Zion Williamson and they end up with that,
and they're not trading. First of all, that's another thing. They're not trading him.
Kobe Buffkin can come in as like an instant microwave on their bench and give them just scoring punch off their bench, and every team needs that.
And then if Zion can stay healthy and Herb Jones, we were talking about dude having like DPOY, like he could be a dark horse DPOY candidate. Then you just put that person on your bench. Now you have a legit somebody that could turn into a legit 6-man.
Yeah, and I mean, Kobe Buffkin also, and you got the other kid, I don't know, was it Jose Alvarado, who comes in.
Jose Alvarado, Grand Theft Alvarado.
You get a working of a really nice bench there in New Orleans. Moving on from there, let's talk about the 50th overall pick as we are moving out of the lottery now. We got the Atlanta Hawks on the clock, and I have them taking Grady Dick, shooting guard out of Kansas. I think he's a good complement to what they could even play him at small forward.
They could.
If they wanted to. He's, he's 6'4", 240 pounds or 204 pounds, 24th 3-point percentage. He's a good complement to Trae Young. and DeJounte Murray. If you like, assuming both those guys are still there, which I imagine they will be.
No, those two guys are still there. It's the others that are
I think
might be
a
gone.
John Collins trade is finally going to happen this
I've
offseason.
heard John Collins. I've
But
heard
John
Clint
Collins, Grady Dick
Capella.
is 6'6". You could put him at the 3. He's a perfect pick and pop shooter guy, compliment to Trae Young. He just makes a lot of sense there for the
And
Atlanta
so,
Hawks.
like, these are 3 names to keep an eye out on for the Atlanta Hawks to get traded out. David already mentioned John Collins. That's probably the most obvious, as they spent the last, what would you say, year and a half talking about trading John Collins, Clint Capella, and this just happened today, DeAndre Hunter, because they want to free up minutes for AJ Griffin.
I mean, as they should, but I'm not trading. I'm not trading. I think John Hunter is a good player. Like I wouldn't trade him away either. But
Hey, I'm just giving you what the notification popped up.
Who do you have the Hawks taking at 15?
I don't hate Grady Dick. I don't hate that pick. This is another team. It's like what do you do? Like if you trade Clint Capella, there's no center or big left on the board that's worth taking the risk at 15.
I agree with you. I mean, you're hoping Emeka Okongwu takes a major step forward, but if he doesn't, what do you do then?
So like what I read, so like the trade I read with him was the Mavs get Clint Capella, and it's basically a pick swap. The Mavs get Clint Capella.
Goes back to Dallas.
Yeah, the Mavs get Clint Capella and the 15th overall pick, and Atlanta moves up to the top 10. So if they get in that top 10, then they get Derek Lively.
I mean, but that's basically you have a cheaper version of Clint. I wouldn't. I don't know. That's interesting. Well, I guess.
So, well, if the reports are right, like what you said about Derek Lively, he poses a more of an offensive threat than Clint Capella.
Oh, 100%. I don't think that's even remotely close. But I mean, defensively is why Clint Capella is quote unquote on that roster.
And the Atlanta Hawks were one of the worst defensive teams in the league last season. So what good is it? What's it doing? What is it doing?
You ain't wrong. You ain't wrong. I'm just giving you some facts here. But did you? Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't make that trade.
You wouldn't make that trade?
I think John Collins is going to get moved. Like, no doubt about it.
You wouldn't make that trade. Okay, that's. He's also been linked to Dallas. I'm just throwing that out there.
I love John Collins on the Dallas Mavericks. Like if that trade works out that way, like whatever. I'm not sure how the money works because you can't just take out John Collins' contract. It would have to be like Tim Hardaway Jr. and probably
some stuff.
That other big that is the 3-point shooting big that they have on their roster. His name is Maxi Kleber. Yeah. That would have to be those two guys and 10. For John Collins.
Some stuff would have to be more. I could also see Derek Lively going 10 to the Mavericks. Like that makes a lot more sense because the one thing they absolutely don't have is the biggest dude on their roster is who? Dwight Powell.
I guess, but Maxi Kleber might be a little bit taller, but he's like
he ain't no banger. You need a banger.
He's like 200 pounds with bricks in his pockets.
Right, you need a banger. Who's that? Who next? Who's that 16?
Moving on to number 16, we got ourselves the Utah Jazz back on the clock. This pick is coming over from the Minnesota Timberwolves in the
terrible Rudy Gobert
trade. I have them taking Keontae George, a really good feel-good story, kid out of Baylor, 6'4", 185 pounds. Yeah, dude can just straight up play, a score. He can, put it on the floor. He can score at will. He's a good basketball player. I also have seen him as a top 10 pick at one point during this process. For him to fall out of the lottery and for the Utah Jazz to take him at 16 and be a compliment to Colin Sexton, or if they trade away Jordan Clarkson, he's just a good basketball player.
Now, this is where you can't get on the pie eating, man. Like that's just disrespectful. You just took a big old bite of food, like, bro, like that.
Do you realize that I don't eat my meal? I don't eat my meals until after these shows are done. This guy.
hey, David. Basically, what Izzy saying is,
I ain't cutting my camera off right now.
Basically, hey, Dave. Basically what he's saying is that's a you problem. But this is more this is more of a Jordan Hawkins type pick right here. Like outside of the lottery, yeah, this feels more like his speed.
Just so Izzy is up to speed. I had Jordan Hawkins going at 8 to the Washington Wizards.
To the Washington Wizards?
At 8.
Holy camole!
Right? So
wow.
yeah. I'm just gonna go.
Well, they did lose Bradley Beal, so
there you go.
Like you get a UConn guy. You know, TJ, those UConn guys are great.
Sometimes
are pretty damn good at the NBA level. No, they're not. Don't do UConn like that. Don't do UConn like that.
I mean, what happened to Shabazz Napier?
He went. Wait, where did he go?
He went to the.
I'm talking about the top 10 guys.
Okay.
Only guy except Hasheem Thabit. Colossal bust. Anyways,
the biggest bust in the history of the league. So 16. Let's go.
At number 16, so my draft kind of changed. I could get to that at the end of the podcast. But at 16, I got them taking Jet Howard. I think the Utah Jazz need to add some shooting at this point. He's one of the best spot-up shooters in college basketball. Earlier, I believe they didn't have a pick earlier. This is the first pick. So
Utah?
yeah,
No,
this is their second. This is their second.
This is their second?
They have 3 first-round picks. This is their second one.
Which one? Oh, they're number 9. Earlier, I got them taking Jalen Hood-Schifino at number 9.
Moving on from the Utah Jazz, I like that. I have Schifino going all to 12 to the Toronto Raptors. Okay. Moving on from them, we talk about the Los Angeles Lakers as they get to keep their pick as it falls outside of the lottery. They have 17 overall. Izzy, what do you got the Lakers doing? Put you on the clock here a little bit.
Well, at number 17 in my latest mock draft.
Oh, now he being modest because he eating and he turned his camera off. Now he want to be modest. Come on, bro. You know
At least he's in that watermelon with a fork.
Man, oh my gosh, it's doing wonders.
Watermelon's amazing.
At number 17, you know, when I look at the Lakers, they do need some size. I don't really see, you know, other than Noah Clowney at here, I don't really see them like with the Gregory Jackson maybe here. But I think they like a guy that they saw some success in his brother there in Sacramento. I'm going Chris Murray here at number 17. A small forward, a power forward. He could be a small. He's a power forward. He could be a small forward at times, but he could shoot the ball from the 3-point land with one of the best of them. At 6'8", I like Chris Murray here at number 17.
So this guy has fallen in many mock drafts, including mine. I got the other guard from Arkansas, Nick Smith Jr., 6'5", 185 pounds. Gets you somebody who can put the ball in the basket. He's also a clutch client, as he ties with Anthony Davis and LeBron James. He should be a good complement to what they're already doing there. So Nick Smith Jr. falling to 17. TJ.
I like Nick Smith, man. I think he's going to be an all-star at one point. He's got some Lou Williams in him. Even though Lou Williams, didn't make an all-star team, but
Lou Williams, I thought Lou Williams may have made an all-star game.
No, Lou Williams did not make an all-star. I don't think he made one.
Yeah, no, but TJ, he's got some Lou Will in him though. You know when Lou Will get the cooking, it was hard. I just had to shout out Lou Will because he just
retired yesterday or the day before, one of the two.
TJ.
Yeah, this is tough. Like the Lakers, they need size, but you also might want to go get a guard because if you decide not to match the payday that Austin Reeves might get, then you lose. Like this is back-to-back years of you losing out on a guard, on valuable guard play. And I'm not going to pick that David said, but Keontae George is right there for the taking. So yeah, I'm gonna go Keontae George.
Like it. Mm-hmm. Moving on from there, we got the 18th pick. We got the Miami Heat on the clock, and I have the Miami Heat rolling the dice. And I have them taking the kid from France, Victor Wembanyama's teammates. I'm going to try not to butcher his name, but I can't make any promises. Bielo Koulibaly, 6'7" guard, gives him a guy who can, create on his own offense. He kind of gets lost in the shuffle because he's on Victor Wembanyama's teammate. but he's a good basketball player and should be a really nice compliment to Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo there in Miami if they do keep this pick, obviously. TJ.
Full. I can see Nick Smith Jr. going here. Like that would, like Kyle Lowry's old. Like you trying to get Dame, so Tyler Hero and Duncan Robinson could be traded away. Like you're gonna need to replace that. Like so, yeah. And what's his name? Gabe Vincent he's a nice player, but he I don't think he can be a starting point guard for 82 games. Like that's a lot to ask for that caliber of player. So yeah, Nick Smith Jr.
If he's even back, I mean, he may price himself out of Miami.
Right, if he's back.
Is he?
Man, I'm loving this watermelon, ladies and gentlemen. I can't get the words out. Man. Anyways, I got the Miami Heat taking the young player out of France that's playing in the NBL right now. That's Ryan Rupert. I was watching some film of him. It's crazy that we're at this point in the show because, and on my last draft, ladies and gentlemen, I had them taking Keontae George. So there you go.
6'7", 190 pounds, forward, 7'3" wingspan.
Yeah, and so he's a good, really good spot up shooter, and he's got some good intangibles like defensively, and he's long. He's got a good build to him. The only thing that will worry me a little bit, he's gotten better at this. I saw in the second half of some of his games last night. He's gotten better with getting his own bucket in the half court, which a lot of the young players have trouble with at first, right, David? Like getting, as the court shrinks a little bit, getting, they're better off in transitions. That's what this kid is. But I think he's a little bit better in the half court, in my opinion. As he's gotten better, he started for his team down the stretch. He's better than Bilal Coulibaly in the half court. I'll give you that. Right now, if I had to say, okay, which one of those guys is going to contribute first and more efficiently, it's going to be Ryan Rupert out of those two kids from France.
Moving on from there, let's talk about the 19th pick. It's the Golden State Warriors. They're on the clock. I have the Golden State Warriors going with a project. They already took a swing on a center a couple years ago with James Wiseman. That did not work out at all. I got them taking James Naji, center out of Nigeria, but plays for Barcelona, I think. He's a bit –
last thing they need is another project.
He is a project, but if he works out, I think they're probably going into some sort of rebuild at some point in the next couple of years. He's a bit of a project, 18 years old, big and long, athletic, 7 feet, 226 pounds. That's what I got the Warriors doing.
What's crazy, David? I'll go here, TJ. TJ. You know what's crazy about James Naji? On this mock draft, I actually had him going to the Hawks at at 15.
15.
At 15. Yeah, and I had him reaching just because of the fact that I think maybe one of those three guys outside of, maybe Capella, one of those three front court guys are gone. In my opinion, I don't think they're going to keep one of those three guys. So I think they're going to go get another front court player. And this guy's got arms for days. I do like him as a project, David. You're right. He's got arms for days. He can run the floor easily. If you can and he's got a good form on his jump shot. Easily, you can teach a guy how to shoot a shot like a spot up jumper. But the motor part, right? It's all about because the young guys, man. He's 18. That motor. If he can easily get 10, 12 rebounds just on pure athleticism, just that ability alone, just watching some of the tape. So, but at number 19, I got them going with another forward. I got them taking Noah Clowney. He's a little bit more polished. He can shoot the three. He's a good spot up shooter. He's long. He can block shots as well. He can rebound. He showed that he can play in a tough conference in college basketball in the SEC. So I got him taking Noah Clowney.
TJ.
Yeah, I don't expect them to take James Naji again. The last thing they need is another project. Somebody need they handheld, and as long as you keep those three dudes on that roster with Steve Kerr as the coach, your championship window is now. Your championship contenders, they not finna hold your hand. Like they literally just had to come out and announce that, hey, we're not trading Jonathan Kuminga. Because teams have been calling about Jonathan Kuminga. So that the last thing they need is another project. So that tells me that those other two guys, because the only one out of the one only one that's been playing really consistently is Jordan Poole, and we saw how that we see where that's at right now.
That's
So
true.
Moody and Kuminga, they're probably progressing well enough to the point where they feel comfortable keeping them on the roster. So if I'm Golden State, I gotta look for somebody that can come in and contribute now, right? Like, and I mean right now. And I don't know who that is for them. I don't. I fully don't expect them to keep this pick. If I'm
I
being
I don't think they'll keep this pick either. So
I think they package this up. I think they package this up with like one of the young guys, Kaminga or Moody, while they still have some type of value, in
I
my
agree with you
opinion.
on
I
that.
mean, yeah. So
so like, obviously that they at this point they need bench rotation. This mock draft has
because they
them.
want to win a championship now, right?
They want to win
They
a
want to win a
championship now.
championship in
I mean,
4 or 5.
obviously,
They don't want to win one in 2 years.
they're
They want
not.
to
They're
win
not.
one next
They're,
year.
they're not worried about 3 years from now.
So
'Cause
they're trading Kaminga. They're trading Moody. I think they probably keep Moody. I think they trade Kaminga because he's the one that has the most upside. He's shown
yeah.
that he can be one of those guys. So like with this pick, Moody, Kaminga, and they get something back. I think they do that.
The mock draft I'm looking at has them getting that point guard out of Santa Clara.
Oh
He
yeah,
can,
Brandon Purse or whatever.
Pajinsky.
yeah,
Hey,
him.
hey, TJ, you know what's crazy? He used to be at the University of Illinois, and he
He
transferred to Santa
did
Clara because there was no
playing
rule
time.
break. He was
There
on
was
the
no
bench,
playing time. He was
OPT, and now this kid is going to be in the first round. I was watching some highlight of him. He's a lefty. Man, this kid, he's got a hell of a Euro step. He's great in transition. He's got a good spot up jumper. He's got good creativity. He's just all around pretty damn good. In my opinion, he's well rounded, like scorer.
Moving on from that, let's move this a little bit faster now that we're outside of the top 20. We're gonna have the Houston Rockets on the clock. TJ, who you got them taking?
Houston. Let's go with and this is a trade from
Clippers.
Clippers. Somehow, some way, Leonard Miller is still on my board here, and I think they snatch him up at 20.
Izzy.
At number 20, I still got Bilal Coulibaly on the board. I think Houston grabs him. On my last mock draft, I had him taking James Najee. He was still there, but he's not there no.
He's not there no more.
I'm going Bryce Sensabaugh from Ohio State. Shooting guard,
Okay.
small forward combo. Good basketball player. Should be a good compliment there. To 21, the Brooklyn Nets. The two picks they have back to back. This one is from the Phoenix Suns. Izzy, what do you got them doing here?
On my latest mock draft, I got the Brooklyn Nets going with Keontae George out of Baylor, combo guard. On my last draft, I had them actually going Leonard Miller. But I think Brooklyn goes with Keontae George here and while he's still on my board.
I'm taking Chris Murray for the twin brother of Keegan Murray, 6'8", 213 pounds, versatile player. They
Yeah.
can use him in a bunch of different ways. TJ.
So I'm going first. Juwan Howard becomes a proud papa. Jet Howard gets drafted in the first round,
Mm-hmm.
and
Congratulations, young man.
I gotta look that up. Like how many father son duos have gotten drafted in the first round?
Probably not a lot. The numbers
Not a,
probably
right?
low. Yeah,
Probably not a lot, right? What you got? Dale and Steph. I'm pretty sure Dale Curry was a first round draft pick, but don't quote me. I gotta look that up. And then on 22, I agree with you. They go Chris Murray. So yeah,
22, I have them getting some big depth because they've needed bigs for a long time. Noah Clowney, kid at Alabama, 6'10", 210
I like that pick
pounds.
too.
Forward center, 6'10", 210. He got overshadowed by Brandon Miller being on his team, but this is a good basketball player. Izzy.
So what's crazy is so on my last draft, I still had Jordan Hawkins here. That's where he went at 22 because I think they could use the scoring and the shooting. But right here in my latest mock draft, I got him taking Leonard Miller. Only thing about Leonard Miller, man, he could do everything except he just can't shoot the ball. He's got to learn how to shoot the ball. He's got to work on his mechanics.
That comes
him
with
getting to the rim. Yeah, him getting to the rim he's really strong at doing that. And getting offensive rebounds. I like Leonard Miller. here.
Moving on from there, we got the Portland Trailblazers back on the clock. This pick is coming from the New York Knicks. I have no idea why they have it or where it's coming from. Same thing with that pick for the Houston has from the Clippers. I couldn't tell you why they have that one either. It could be because of the Eric Gordon trade, but don't quote me on that. But yeah, on the clock, we got the Portland Trailblazers. I have them also swinging. Jet Howard becomes a first-round pick. He ends up being a Portland Trailblazer, 4'6", 215 pounds. Should be a good compliment to what they already have on the roster if they do keep everyone.
If they do keep everyone. Izzy.
Oh, at number 23 on this latest mock draft, I got the Portland Trailblazers taking Jordan Hawkins, getting a shooter. But I don't know. This pick may not. Well, no, they're not trading Dame anymore, so they're probably going to keep this pick. But yeah, Jordan Hawkins from UConn, and then on my last mock draft, I had them taking Bryce Sensabaugh. He was still there, but a little shake up here. Jordan moves down one spot.
A little shaky.
Little shake up. Yeah, no, Jordan Hawkins went 23. Jordan Hawkins went 22 on my last mock draft. He's number 23 here. So
TJ.
James Najee. I think Nurkic's injury history. Obviously, if they're not concerned by now, then I don't know what they're looking at. But he feels an immediate need, like he's a backup center. They're not going to be that good, so he can literally come in and play right away. And the other backup bigs on that roster can literally fill back into their natural spot. So no more trying out the five with Trendon Watford playing the five. Right, he can slide down to whatever his natural position is.
Moving on from there, we got the Sacramento Kings on the clock after they broke their 18-year drought of playoff and almost gave the Warriors all they can handle in the first round. But they're picking here at number 24. I have them taking Leonard Miller, defensive-minded playing guard, kind of like Amen Thompson, 6'9", 213 pounds. Gives them some. They could be potentially be the Harrison Barnes replacement if he can develop some sort of jump shot. Leonard Miller. TJ.
Wouldn't it be awesome if Chris Murray fell here and they paired him back up with his brother? Wouldn't that be awesome?
That would be cool.
That would be really cool.
But it's not going to happen. Jaime Jaquez.
I like that. Izzy.
At number 24, I got them taking Olivier Maxence Prosper, 6'8" forward out of Marquette, can play the 3 or the 4. Yeah, and he got invited to the green room, so good. Congratulations, young man. Congratulations, young man. They know he's gonna get picked in the first round. I think he goes here, Sacramento. I had them taking Gregory Jackson, the 3rd on my last mock draft.
To the Memphis Grizzlies at number 25 on the clock. Izzy, just coming off the 25 game for the Ja Morant suspension. What do you got Memphis doing here at 25?
I got them taking the perfect guy for their situation. Brandon Podziemski out of Santa Clara, 6'6", lefty, can do it from all 3 levels of the floor. Needs to get a little strength, but I'd like Brandon Podziemski, man. I think he can be a really good scorer, even next to Ja Morant. I mean, talk about a guy that can fill in and replace Dylan Brooks, right? Brandon Podziemski, 6'6", has the size, can play the 2. With him and Desmond Bain. So they're going to like Brandon Podziemski. He was on my last mock draft too, right here for Memphis.
I'm going Kobe Jones, the guard out of Xavier, 6'5", 199 pounds, can play, make a little bit, can score. Could be their short-term replacement for Ja Morant and his production on the offensive side of the ball. He's also a good, capable defender. Kobe Jones, Xavier.
Yeah, because Trey Jones is going to be, probably Tyus Jones probably going to be starting for 25 games, so they can't afford to let him go anymore. I had Noah Clowney going here, but I just remembered that they didn't lose any of their bigs; they're just hurt.
Yeah, Steven Adams should be back here.
Steven Adams should be back. Brandon
Clark should be back. Xavier Tillman played well in the playoffs,
so they don't need Noah Clowney anymore. But they do need. They do need guard play. Now, Dave, what is this, the 4th pick we've agreed on?
Yeah, it is 4.
So yeah, I'm being the copycat, and I'm gonna take the guards. You just said that. Yeah, that's where we're going.
Kobe Jones. To number
Kobe Jones.
26, this pick is coming over from the Cleveland Cavaliers. I have no idea why they have. I think it's for the
Karis LeVert.
Karis LeVert trade. I have, TJ, I think you're like this. I have the Indiana Pacers taking Amani Bates. Was at one point the number one prospect in this class, or in the last year's class, whenever he reclassified. Has all the upside, and Indiana can afford to take a swing and a miss because they had 3 first-round picks. They had 3 first-round picks in this draft. They only have 2 now. After they traded one to the Denver Nuggets for a pick next year. But Amani Bates goes to the Indiana Pacers.
Yeah.
I would love for that to happen, but I just don't see it happening.
So on my last mock draft, I had them taking point guard Kobe Buffkin, but on this one, I have them taking Bryce Sensabaugh, small forward out of Ohio State. Kids built ready now. NBA body ready now. The kid's pretty damn good scorer at the Big Ten level. So that's a good check in my book at going to the NBA level, baby.
TJ.
Okay. Well, again, they're talking about Miles Turner, Buddy Hield being shipped off. Jordan Walsh, another Razorback to Indiana.
Moving on from the Indiana Pacers, the Charlotte Hornets back on the clock. This pick is coming from Denver via New York and the Oklahoma City Thunder. This is the pick that Charlotte traded last draft, which was in the top 13. When the top 15 was a lottery pick. Now they get the 27th pick overall for that pick. A really dumb trade when you hindsight 2020. To the Charlotte Hornets, I have them taking Tariq Whitehead, scorer combo guard from the Duke University, 6'6", 216 pounds. Can play either small forward or shooting guard. He's a good player. Wasn't great his freshman year, but
Trace Jackson Davis. I still don't know what the deal is with Miles Bridges. I haven't heard anything. Y'all haven't heard anything. So
he will be on this team next year, I bet. If I'm just throwing a bet out there.
Like I don't know. So I'm just give them Trace Jackson Davis. Like for the unknown. They don't know what I don't even think they know what the hell going on with Miles Bridges.
I agree with you on that. I don't think anybody knows. Charlotte.
So in this mock draft, I have Charlotte taking Tristan Vucevic out of Serbia, plays in the EuroLeague. Young, Serbian, player, 6'10". We just saw the skill that came with Nikola Jokic, right? 2-time MVP, just won the championship. 6'10". This kid. No, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing it. I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it. But I'm just saying.
You kind of are doing it.
I'm just gonna say that they draft this kid. He can actually stay in Europe and then come over. So that's where they're at with that kid. But I think he comes over and he tries to start right away or play right away with a young team. On the last draft, I had them taking Olivier Maxence Prosper, but he's off the board. So.
To the number 28 pick on the Utah Jazz. This pick is coming from Philadelphia via Brooklyn. I don't know why they have it, so they have it. What do you guys have it, Izzy? What do you got the Utah Jazz doing at 28 here?
At number 28, I got the Utah Jazz going with Gregory Jackson, the second 6'9" power forward out of South Carolina. This kid is a beast. I think if he could just get the motor together and put it all together, I think Gregory Jackson could be a monster at the next level. It's just all about how much he wants it. He's a young kid, was a former 5-star guy, probably one of South Carolina's best recruits ever. So I think this kid would be a steal here with the type of ceiling that he has.
Go ahead.
Yeah, and then I think in the last draft I had him taking Tariq Whitehead.
So I got the Utah Jazz taking Ryan Rupert out of the New Zealand Breakers. That's the league actually LaMelo Ball played in. We already mentioned this: 6'7", 190 pounds, 7'3" wingspan. Good compliment there for Utah Jazz, no matter what they do with the rest of that roster. PJ.
Yeah, Derek Whitehead makes a lot of sense here. Colin Sexton is looking like they're looking to trade him. I also don't expect Clarkson to finish the season. on this team. So yeah, Derek Whitehead.
To this pick, now it says on the graphic that it's the Indiana Pacers on the clock, but I have not updated it since that trade happened earlier this afternoon, where now Denver has this pick as they traded a pick in next year's draft to get two first round two picks, like two picks that are like basically back to back in the first round. And the Pacers trade this one and I think 32 to the Denver Nuggets. So this is actually Denver on the clock, and with that, I have them taking Jaime Jaquez, the kid from UCLA.
Yeah.
UCLA. I think they needed another scorer that can play the wing position, that can come off their bench and score for this team. Jaime Jaquez can for sure do that. I'm not sure where he's a shooting guard, a small forward, or a power forward in the NBA because he's 6'6" or 6'7". But I think you draft the guy and let him just figure it out.
Yeah, so on my original mock draft, I had the Pacers taking Trey Jackson Davis here. But since they got, in this mock draft, they got Anthony Black, they got Bryce Sensabaugh, and then they were going to get a power forward, to add some front court depth with Trey Jackson Davis. But now doing it all over, I actually agree with you. I'm gonna go with Jaime Jaquez here. Trey Jackson Davis falls out the first round for me. But I honestly think that there can go a few ways. I mean, Jaime Jaquez, Andre Jackson Jr., right, with a hell of a tournament run that he had for UConn, basically second half and on. He might have ended his way, back into the first round. He's a small forward that can be a killer in terms of dishing out, distributing the ball in the half court offense. And then, also, a guy like Maxwell Lewis, Julian Phillips still on the board, Kobe Jones still on the board. Anything with like wing depth that can handle the ball, I think this is where the Nuggets go. But I got him going Jaime Jaquez though.
TJ.
Adama Sanogo out of UConn. So this changes things a bit, right? If he's going to the Pacers, I mean, I think he works in both settings. But you're going to the NBA champion Denver Nuggets. They need a backup big in the worst way. Strong as hell, 6'9", 240. Again, strong as hell. Now you were strong as hell in college. You gonna be like that you might need to bulk up a little bit more for the NBA, because like you was like them dudes that was trying to back you down in the tournament, you was not budging. You gonna budge at the next level, bro. I'm just throwing that out there. He can fit in right away.
To the final pick, it says on the Los Angeles Clippers from Milwaukee v. Houston. But as we talked about at the very beginning of the show, a proposed trade, I think, has basically been accepted. This pick will now be going to the Washington Wizards. I do not think that they can actually make this trade has to be made by the Clippers and then traded to the Wizards on draft night. But so let's say the Wizards are going to make this pick. I have the Wizards taking Brandon Podolinsky, shooting guard, point guard out of Santa Clara. Yeah, Santa Clara. Should be able to come in there and compete for legitimate minutes with like Johnny Davis and who I had taken Jordan Hawkins earlier in this draft.
Oh, Johnny Davis.
So
this is going to be what, Washington's second pick?
Correct.
It's Washington's second pick?
Yep.
Of the draft? Okay. Yeah, no. So I had him taking Jarris Walker. At number 30,
You have Jarris Walker falling all the way to 30?
No. I had him taking Jarris Walker.
Gotcha. I was
Yeah. Godly, no. I had him taking Jarris Walker at 8. So at number 30, man, interesting. I had the Clippers taking Kobe Buffkin here. I still do believe that Kobe Buffkin is the pick here in this mock draft. I'm just going to keep it here and give it to the Washington Wizards. They need some point guard depth. They need some front court and some back court depth. So Kobe Buffkin's a guy that slips to number 30, but could have been a lottery pick, So
DJ.
They need a lot. Like this is the Wizards, right? They getting this pick.
It will
they
be the Wizards
blowing it up. They blowing it up, baby.
They blowing it up. They're not doing this trade anymore.
What?
They're not doing the Porzingis trade. They're not doing it anymore. Porzingis trade falls apart.
Oh, I guess okay. So it's the Clippers on the clock then. What do you have the Clippers doing?
I still got him taking Kobe Buffkin.
I will still have the Clippers take Brandon, the kid, the shooting guard too. I'm going to stick with who I got.
Yeah, I like Pajinski. I think Pajinski is going to be a steal here. I think the only thing that separates, the one thing that separates a lot of these guys from being superstars, all stars, you know, six men's is the athleticism. Patton Pajinski, if he can just overcome the athleticism, getting to the hole, I think, man, that kid can be
Uh,
special.
I'm gonna give them Maxwell Lewis, the small forward out of Pepperdine. Again, they got question marks at behind their two best players, and they just so happen to be the same position. They're both small forwards. They're also fielding trades for Paul George. So I don't know what's gonna happen with the Clippers, but Maxwell Lewis, small forward, Pepperdine.
And then that was the final pick in our mock draft 2.0. Izzy, when you earlier in the reference the changes to your mock draft, do you just want to touch on that briefly before we get up out of here?
Oh yeah. So I think Jarris Walker, Hood Shafino, but I think when I'm looking back on this mock draft, I was thinking with all the news with Damian Lillard and with the Charlotte Hornets, and I'm actually going to go Scoot Henderson at 2, Brandon Miller at the 3. I think there's something to that, right? I think that if the Charlotte Hornets were probably like, hey, we're actually going to go Scoot here, maybe they have some of that knowledge. I mean, coming up on tomorrow, and maybe pitch that to Dame, where Dame's like, I don't want to trade right now. I'm gonna get Brandon Miller. You know what I mean? I'm gonna get some help. I think Brandon Miller is gonna be a perennial All-Star in the league. So I'm actually gonna switch those two up because on my last mock draft I had had Brandon Miller at 2 and Scoot Henderson at 3. And then I had in my last mock draft I had Jarris Walker falling, but now with Porzingis leaving, being traded with Bradley Beal, that Bradley Beal news, I just think Jarris Walker makes tons of sense. He's a guy that can be kind of like that Larry Johnson type of role in the NBA. That's who I think he can be. And Larry Johnson at his prime was a beast. So and then the rest is still the same. Taylor Hendricks is still going number 11 in my draft as well. So
Did you guys see who Brandon Miller said is his GOAT? I don't know if you guys.
Paul George. Paul George. I told you this is Paul George's doppelganger, man.
I think he probably compares a little bit closer to Danny Granger, but that's still.
But no, in terms of athleticism.
I also don't think it's that big of a deal.
No, I just thought it was funny. I just thought it was interesting because you know who else is a big. You know who else is a big Paul George fan? Me. So man, I was like, yeah, all right, man, let's go.
Brandon Miller has like the Paul George, he just looks like Paul when he moves out there. He looks like Paul George, like the way he
doesn't have the ability. He doesn't have the ability to finish at the rim the way Paul George.
That's the only difference. The athleticism. So, that's the only difference.
But yeah,
but he's got that Danny. He's got that Danny Granger to him too, man.
Yeah, 100%. But that's the NBA Mock Draft 2.0. Thank you very much for checking us out here at Prime Sports World. We will be breaking down the Jacksonville Jaguars tomorrow before the NBA draft gets started, so you don't want to miss that content. I'm David Huffman, Israel Rivera, TJ Hopkins, and on Friday, we're also going to give you our winners and losers from the draft because there will be winners, and of course, there will always be losers. Thank you very much for checking us out here at Prime Sports World. Please like, share, and subscribe. And gentlemen, what do we do here at the Prime, my friends?
We bring the heat, ladies and gentlemen. And thank you to the viewers. The 7 viewers, we had consistent 7 viewers here tonight. So thank you for staying in tune with us.
Yeah, we got 4 likes on the show, so we appreciate you guys hanging out with us. We'll be back here tomorrow. You guys all have a good night and enjoy the NBA draft. It's one of the most exciting nights of the year. So enjoy that stuff. We'll be back here tomorrow. You all have a good night. Stay safe.
Peace out, guys.